So what are we dealing with? We're dealing with something that will dry if we do this and we do that, right? If we could separate the paper from it, it would dry better. So if we peel this out of here and dry it separately, and it's stuck by capillary action, so picking at it from here was hard, but in there it came right off. So again, this may be a coated media, so you want Hollytex and then blotter. The trick will be, if she's going to dry it there and I'm going to dry it here, I might want to create a system that says 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and somebody mark it. You could go ahead and write next to it, but you could probably just order it if somebody wrote it down on a piece of paper, knowing that we'll go through the drying process and then put them back together. So in 3 days, they all come back together. Is this going to be adequate to dry this? The answer is yeah. That's all. Actually, all you got to do. Somebody do the next one for me. Do you want to do one? Sure. Do a videotape. Okay. So with a videotape, because well, first go ahead and do it. Yeah, good. Yeah, there's a water thing going on. Let's get some working paper towel there. Tomomi's like 2 steps ahead always. So, and we can just get the table dried up just so it makes it easier on you not to get wet. Okay, so the trick with the videotapes is that they've got a box. The box has got coating on the surface. It may or may not want to actually stick to anything. It wouldn't be bad if you've got Hollytex to put it there. Air drying it just on the surface, you're done. Okay? Will it come out perfect? Can you use it again? Who knows? But you will know exactly what it was. It may be, depends how wet it got, all right? But we don't have to, unless it's like a rare object, I'm not going to lose sleep. Could I wrap this in Hollytex and put blotter around it and put something inside to absorb moisture? I can do that, right? But mostly, that's not the deal. That's correct. Do that.
Is that the one going to be black?
I wouldn't do it. I would just leave it as a box and forget it. You might want to actually open the other end just to get better airflow, and then go for it. With these, if we could put a little bit of a paper towel, so we can jam the door open. Do you know about the little doors in these? So you push down the little button on the side, you open this thing up, you jam it open, now we're drying videos, okay? Move through that stuff, right? We're done. I mean, it's got to be pretty quick. So go through and those, there's nothing to it. What we're trying to do is separate. The disc will be fine, just set it out. And the paper in this case, I would do like that. I would say, give it to Rose, who will dry it between Hollytex. And always guessing that the surface could be a coating, I would just, say forget it. Okay, so do these. Here.
Now, Randy, can you reuse these?
Yeah, we do. Until they get messy. If they got ink and stuff coming off on them, we dump them.
But like the blotter, they can be reused until they're...
And it's the silicone. Hollytex you can wash.
Well, like, I know pollen, Well, you can't really wash... Well, you can't wash pollen. You can't wash the stuff that disappears.
Yeah. So what we've got at the end of the shop are these racks. Notice the metal racks on that table? Mm-hmm. The idea is that we're going to rack this blotter tomorrow when we take everything out. I mean, if I really was to go forward with this. We would rack the wet blotter, we would put in new blotter, and you create a system too. So the way we created this was fairly organized. So if I'm here tomorrow, what I'm going to do is take the blotter, remove it for drying, transfer a new blotter in, put in fact there should be a pair of Hollytex sheets. So I put the pair of them on. I'll transfer out the wet blotter, I'll put on a dry blotter, wherever one is, and go. So I continue to move in a sequential way, and then these go over there for drying. And even if it's got discoloration and stuff, we're going to use it for the beaters. So we tend to save them, we rack them, it takes about a day and they're dry again. So let's go to the... Yeah, so she's got one that's bleeding. If you know it's going to bleed, you could say, well, I don't want to kill my blotter. So we haven't used the paper towels. I never got to use all this other drying stuff. Let's use what about, we could use a layer of blotter. People always wonder about the utility of, so you could, if it's going to be slick, you might need a Hollytex in between. But for purpose of introduction to the concept, we could go like this. Where's my newsprint? You guys dry some stuff with newsprint. Okay. We got really big on this idea because it gets it gets more and more obvious that what we do in the first round is we throw stuff away. It gets super wet. So we figured out that you could actually take a phone book. It's like pre-cut to book size, and you could just cut off the spine and it's ready to go. So that's like really kind of cool. And those are absorbent sheets. So if we were to do interleaving on a book like this, we could use that material.
And so you can use like newsprint and the ink doesn't transfer off.
That's the point.
Huh.
Yep.
You want to use newsprint, like you don't want to use today's paper.
Right. It's just sitting around for a while. Yeah.
And we
Does
tend
color matter?
we're avoiding color more or less. But so say I have a wedding dress, right? So I've got this big problem. I got this wedding dress that got wet. You know, I don't know if it was in a box or hanging something, but this happens, right? So we got this thing that got wet. Well, so we could create a big drying surface with lots of newspaper, color and all, and then put a clean sheet on top of that, right? Or paper towel on top of that. That's going to continue to act really absorbently. This stuff will act as the interleaving, right? And you can put something pristine white on it.
That's how I pack my white china, actually.
Okay, great. So we could interleave. Now, I've got a big one on interleaving. We've ended up just fighting with it too much to think it actually causes much benefit. So truthfully, we would tend to probably just fan this puppy out and air dry it. The loss of the covers in leather tends to be pretty much ubiquitous. So leather damage is something we're not doing a good job developing an answer for at this point in books in general. So when this stuff gets wet, it's kind of what it is. We went through a period, at Christmas time, somebody brought us a set of rare books that were 19th century leather. We used book oil to try and supplement something into the leather and then dry it that way. And of course, everything had, you know, sort of offset of leather oil. We think they came out okay, but the spine is terribly distorted. So it's just there's not a great answer yet. We're going to work on that. But for the moment, we could interleave with newsprint, with cut newspaper, you know, or with silicone release, but frankly, what we want in this environment is just to start to get the airflow going and dry it. The Anasazi basket, the textiles, stuff like this. So if we could pack something like